So I'm Heather, I'm a beauty lecturer here at Hugh Baird, and I am Hannah's sister.
My name is Mark Lyson, I'm Hannah's dad. Hannah was just a normal, everyday young girl, you know, just starting out in life. When I say starting out in life, you know, adult life, you know, she was just a normal kid, like all these kids, they look forward to life, and she was, luckily we'd always taken her on holidays and that, and she did love travel. And she was at college doing cabin crew training. That's what she wanted to do, she wanted to travel. And she'd just been enrolled into Camp America to start in the June, sorry, she was due to go. And she'd been out, you know, buying all the summer clothes and all this stuff, and all ready. We actually had a case packed with all stuff in the conservatory, all stuff. 3 weeks before she was due to go, she got diagnosed with bowel cancer.
So she first started with some symptoms, as I say, like upset tummies we started off with. So initially we thought, oh, she's probably like us, and even myself, you know, easily upset tummy. But she also began with a lot of back pain at about 16. So she was taken to that because, you know, at 16, why would you really have severe back pain? I tried to help with massage. They did give her painkillers and also looked at, I think they said she had vitamin D deficiency, which now, looking on it, is a symptom connected with bowel cancer, but obviously at the time we didn't know. And then for about 2 years, then she was back and forth with these symptoms of problems with her bowel, upset tummy. It wasn't like a consistent thing. It sort of seemed like a flare-up. So sometimes she went on holiday to Florida and she was poorly there. Was it something she'd eaten? So as I say, it was never a consistent time frame of her being ill all the time. It was all like flare-ups.
She got treated for irritable bowel syndrome. She was still having various problems. Then they gave her this peppermint something, whatever it was, tablets. And so it was a long journey, but the wife kept taking her back and saying, we need to get you, you need to really get this investigated. It's not right, her stomach's not like this at this age. She's still having all these problems. And at one point, the wife said, could it not be cancer? And she explained that two of the other children had had different forms of cancer. And the doctor more or less laughed and said, bowel cancer is like an elderly complaint. And it is. I've looked at statistics, and although 44,000 people get diagnosed with bowel cancer a year in the UK, 94% are over 50. So it is more of an elderly complaint, but that doesn't mean that young kids can't get it as well. And obviously that's proven with Hannah and various other young people who we've been in touch with since Hannah got ill.
There's still that chance, and you know, now we think, what if, should we, my mum does, bless her, say, should I have pushed more? Would 3 months have made a difference? Would 6 months earlier made a difference? But it's something we'll never know. So eventually she got worse, continuously upset tummies, being sick, losing weight, and she was due to go to Camp America in the summer of 2016. So my mum said, you can't go this poorly, we need to get something sorted, took her back. I think she'd actually been to the walk-in, being really ill, and they said go back to the GP for further tests, so they went back. They did blood tests, stool sample testing, they were clear. Even the cancer markers came back clear, which is unbelievable. So my mum said, something else needs to be done, she needs to be referred because she's not well. If it's not cancer, then what else is it? So she was referred and seen at Fairfield Hospital, and had a CT scan, and that's when they found it, and she was in, I think it was May, I feel like it was May 2016, she was diagnosed with stage 4, so it had already spread to her liver.
So yeah, that was kind of the journey with Hannah. And then when she did finally get diagnosed because it took so long. It had already spread to a liver, which that's why it was stage 4, which I didn't want to hear that, like, when the doctor said that. Couldn't believe it, like, it's stage 4, no chance, like, and we could fight this. So that's where we were up to with that, like, yeah.
She only had 8 months from diagnosis to her passing away. So 16th of May 2016 to the 28th of Jan 2017. And you think, she got her 20th birthday, which is at Christmas time. She loves Christmas. But it's just horrible to think, did she lose her life unnecessarily? Well, really, yeah, because if someone had just looked into it further, would she still be here now? Could she have had a few more years rather than just 8 months?
Hannah's birthday, her 20th birthday, was the 23rd of December, and the doctor had already had the talk with me and my wife, Beth, that sadly he was saying she wasn't going to get better and there was no more treatment to have, which I still couldn't believe, like. So they let her out on the 19th of December to go home to have a birthday and for Christmas. And we had to get a stair lift fitted for her because she didn't want, they were going to offer us a bed in the living room, But Hannah didn't want that. She wasn't like an old person, was she? So she wanted the bedroom. So we got a stair lift fitted and we got her up to a two-bedroom and stuff. And and she lived a few more weeks, she passed away at the end of January. So, yeah. To be honest, I never really heard much of bowel cancer until Hannah got it. The family's been affected with cancer in various other cancers. My dad died of cancer young, my sister died of cancer. I've had 2 of my other daughters have had different types of cancer, but none of them have had bowel cancer. Didn't know much about it, and it's not a subject people talk about really, bowel movements and stuff. So.
When Hannah was poorly at the time, I think it was more 60 plus that they were targeting, because statistically it is an older person's cancer, as they say. So there was never anything around our age group, Hannah's age group. So it wasn't really ever something that was brought as an option. Even when the question was asked at the doctors numerous times, she was told she was too young, which is quite a strong statement that they made with no evidence really.
It's the second biggest killer of cancer in this country. Obviously, lung cancer is the #1 killer in cancer, but bowel cancer contributes to 10% of cancer deaths. There's nearly 70,000 people die of bowel cancer a year in this country, which equates to 46 people a day. But there still isn't the awareness, and I think it's because it's a bit of a taboo subject. None of us want to talk about, I've been on the toilet for 20 minutes, or I've got these pains and all that. It's an embarrassing subject, but we have to get over that embarrassment, because if it just saves one life, it's doing its, we are trying to raise awareness, and if, like I say, that awareness just saves one life. If somebody is going through these problems, and young people, I'm sure the parents, they can speak to the parents. Parents aren't going to be embarrassed of you telling them that you've got diarrhea, or you're blocked up, or all this stuff. Or a close friend, talk to someone, and you go to your doctor, and your doctor, I understand, because 94% of people are over the age of 50, but young people can have it.
I think they need to scrap the age side of it, because it's continuously looked at as I say, an older person's, and I think now they've reduced it to 50 plus that they target, because I think statistically it is more in that age group, but there's still that small chance that, and it's that small percentage of people that are younger that are being missed because they're not taken seriously. They're judged by the age. Hannah was judged by her age. She wasn't judged by her symptoms, and I think that's the biggest problem we had, and obviously other people do as well, because you should be treated the same. Cancer doesn't care who you are. If it's going to get you, it's going to get you. And bowel cancer is so treatable if it's caught early.
Because with any cancer, particularly bowel cancer, but I think any cancer, you need to get it early before it spreads. And if you can get it early, it's treatable. All cancer, you know, and it'll save a life.
There's not enough awareness out there for anybody of a younger age. So they do definitely need, and I think the same with other cancers, you know, it's like with smear testing, it's only supposed to be from 25 and above, but that doesn't mean somebody under 25 can't get cervical cancer. It almost like makes people think, oh, I can't get it. And we, as well, as a family, you know, even my mum, you listen to the doctor. So when going back and they say, no, it's not that, you take that. Well, they know, they're the medically trained, but how do you know unless you investigated, unless you looked further into? Hannah did get some support from some of the charities. So she actually visited, bless her, 9 hospitals over the 8 months that she was poorly. When she first started, obviously, was general hospitals until they diagnosed her with the cancer. And then she had a main treatment with Clatterbridge and with Teenage Cancer Trust. So Teenage Cancer Trust have units at Clatterbridge, and she was also at Christie at one point. And they were really good, trying to make a unit specifically for, I think it's 13 to 24-year-olds. So trying to make it more of a home from home, less clinical sort of based. They have games night, takeaway nights. They try and make them feel, you know, a bit more like they're not just in a hospital and living a life in the hospital, because they're young kids and young adults, and it's awful to. I think when Hannah went to have her first operation at Wiston to have her tumour removed from her bowel, she was just on a normal bowel ward, which was full of 70-year-olds. You know, and at 19, that's quite like scary as well. As I've got cancer and I'm on a ward that so young. So there was that, and there was also Click Sergeant that arranged days out and trips for them, which was really good. It was nice for her to get out and about and have a break from the treatment, because it's obviously very, very heavy, and just, you know, it's hard for their mental health as well, trying to deal with that. So we had a lot to do with them. Bowel cancer, more so afterwards, they did a campaign for Never Too Young and used Hannah's story. It's still on the website now, because it is. You should never let somebody tell you you're too young for something. Sadly, Hannah was, and you know, we look back at that all the time. But that's the main thing: is don't let somebody tell you you're too young.
Teenage Cancer Trust, I think, is fantastic. Like, because same one of my other daughters, when she was in the Royal, she was on a Teenage Cancer Trust ward when she had leukemia, and obviously Hannah was at Clatterbridge and at the Christie on a Teenage Cancer ward. We had a fantastic little trip with Hannah. They invited us to Michael Owen Stables, just outside of Chester. Hannah loved horses. We went round all day with this Irish trainer, took us round, seeing the horses and all that. And then in the night we went to Chester races. He had a marquee, Michael Owen, inside the course. And we were in there, we all having little bets and all that. And he was fantastic. Well, he came up, asking how she was and all this, when he didn't have to, he'd done enough, just inviting us, but he was lovely with her. And then in the November, he was in Japan, and he sent her a lovely little video asking how she was progressing, but Hannah was very poorly at this time. She
wanted to create awareness, because when she was ill, there wasn't anything for someone with 19 with bowel cancer. There was nothing out there. And also Hannah had to have a stoma when she had the tumour removed from her bowel. There was nothing for her then. So she created a blog called Worthwhile Adventure, and also she has Hannah's Bowel Cancer Journey. We still have it open on social media for Facebook and Instagram, and she documented all her treatment, her journey, to help others so they don't feel alone. So, you know, we want to keep that open so that people can look back on it and see if it helps them in any way.
Young people, if you do have symptoms, like I say, I'm sure your parents would listen to you, but you've got to pursue it. You can't just say, I know they're medical professionals and we're taught to respect authority or whatever, but if they're fobbing you off with some tablets and you're still not right, you need to tell them, I need this being investigated more, doctor. You know, you can put it across in a polite manner, you don't have to shout and rave, but I do think they need to get things checked. And hopefully, And I would probably say most of them will be okay, which is great. But at least you've had it checked out, you know. And if unfortunately you were ill, hopefully it's caught early, and it's you know, it's preventable if it's caught early. You know, it's curable if it's caught early, is what I meant to say. I know it's embarrassing, but you'll have a close friend maybe there listen to you, or something, or your siblings, you know, your sisters, your brothers. It is an embarrassing something, even for my age, you know, an alpha like me. You know, I don't want to be telling my mates I'm stuck on the toilet, but if you've got them symptoms, you need to speak to somebody, don't you? You know, and it's preventable. Like all cancers, you know, I think the thing for everything is if it's caught early, you know.
Because she's missed out on so much with us, with her own life. And we don't want that to happen to someone else, and we don't want a family to have to go through that like we did.